All right, it's Friday, and I told you guys that I would announce the season finale today. So it's a story. I have a story. There's a story. So I'm going to tell you the story. So settle in if you like stories. If you don't like stories, see you later. In 2011, my mother introduced me to this artist. We went all the way to Luckenbach to see him. He threw a pick into the crowd, and I even caught the pick, and I still have the pick. Fast forward to 2016, I had the honor of opening up for him. It was my first experience in a listening room, and it completely changed my world. I had never experienced an environment where people listened like that, and I knew that that was something I wanted to do on a smaller scale for the artist who couldn't necessarily feel that big of a room, but needed to be heard. And so in 17, I decided that I was going to do this thing called Seven Oaks Event Garden. I wasn't sure what it was going to be, other than I wanted to start house concerts and host singer-songwriters in a listening environment. And I had a short list of people that I thought these would be my bucket list people to host, because I was just getting into the world of singer-songwriters as far as looking for singer-songwriters. And so I didn't know a lot of you. There's a lot of talented people out there, and I love all the artists that I've hosted so far. But I had a list of like 3 people. One was my father, who I did host in 2019. It was his last public performance, so I'm very happy about that. And not that it was his last, but that I was able to provide an environment for him like that. And so the other one was Sean Rowe from New York, who, we've talked about it, but it's, getting him down here from that far is still in the works. So anyway, and then there was this third person, whom I had admired since I found him, which is 2011. And I reached out in 2019 to his booking agent, never heard anything back. And then I reached out again in 21, and this was early on in 21, and didn't hear anything right away. And so in the meantime, my father passed, and my whole schedule of releasing my third album was set back about 3 months. And so, now a little excerpt here. Back in when I first started doing these shows, I had a few patrons ask me if I would ever play my own venue. And of course, at first it was no, I did not create a stage to sing on. It's just weird to me. And they would be like, well, but why not? And I'm like, well, no. And so then after a little bit more persistence from them, Merlin Kemper, I said, you know what? When I release my third album, I'll do a show. So 4 years later, yeah, that was 2018, 2019. So 3 years later, I decided if I couldn't release it in November like I normally had planned, I would release it in March, because I didn't want to wait any longer than that. And all of my dates were booked in March. David Starr was supposed to start it off, so I had to add a date, and it ended up being March 4th. And I was like, look, I'm just going to add a date, get it done, and release the album. And then I got an email back. Okay, so now we're back on the story. So then I got an email back from the agent. And they said, well, possibly. And then a month later it was, let's grab the date. And then 3 weeks later it was, I think this is doable. And then 4 days ago it was confirmed or whatever. So in a weird way, 5.5 years later, I'm opening up for the same artist again that I opened up for in 2016, that inspired everything that I'm doing here. I mean, as far as the listening environment, the need for it was inspired by my father. He's a singer-songwriter that I watched look for places to play and just share stories all my life. And so, anyway, drum roll, 2022's season finale is going to be Bob Schneider. So, that's it. Bob Schneider. After so many years of admiring his music, his quirky, his weirdness, and being inspired by the listening room in Beaumont. I'm finally hosting person number 2 on my short bucket list. So, hope to see you this year.
Cleveland for the weekend 'cause she thought it was time to